Hey there riders, Moto Journo Kris here today, and I wanted to talk about a piece of kit that I get asked a lot of questions about, both on my Daytona and on the Ninja 400, and that is the rack and luggage setup that I use, and that is a Ventura setup. And the reason I like this setup is because I've actually been using it since I first started riding, which was over 15 years ago now. And at the time, the first bike I bought actually had a Ventura rack on it. Didn't have a bag. I got given a bag by a mate who'd been riding for a very, very long time. He'd had the bag probably for 15 years and it was still going strong. Gave it to me, and since then I've had Ventura on almost all of my machines. It's a really good setup for adding some luggage to the bike, and as I'll show you in a second, you know, it's in most cases quite a simple installation, and it's also something that's easy to take on and off, and you've got a lot of luggage options, and it's a really good value option if you ask me. As you can see here, on my Daytona at the moment, I've got the EVO-22 bag on the back. This is a really good kind of sports touring option. That will fit a full helmet in it. It's got a handrail at the front, or a hand strap at the front. It's got a hand strap at the back. It's held on to a flat rack, which is nice and low profile, which means that it's not really ruining the look of your bike if you take the bag off. And at the end of the day, I think it's one of the sportier options which still offers you an enormous amount of storage. It's the EVO-22 bag. It's a 22 litre bag, and you can fit a full helmet in there. So quite a good all-round option if you want something that offers good storage but isn't going to be one of the enormous bags, and I've got some of the enormous bags and I love them as well. But this is the nice kind of sports bike option. I'll give you a look at the rack. I've actually got this at the moment basically pointing back over the pillion seat. So you cannot run it like this if you've got a pillion on the back. However, you can turn it round. And as you can see, this is a super low profile rack. It's just a simple, you know, single layer. There's no loop over that the bag needs to strap onto. Some of the bigger bag setups do have that kind of setup. However, with the Evo rack, that's not the case. So you're getting this really cool, really simple rack that's not going to ruin the look of your sports bike. I mean, obviously, if you're putting luggage on, there's always a little bit of a compromise there, but I think this is one of the better options available to you. Now, as far as taking the rack on and off, it's actually just held on by these screws here, which have basically like a lock nut kind of thing on them. You'll get a tool which makes it very easy to take that on and off, and obviously you can just pull that straight off the back of the bike. The other really great thing about this rack system is that it's universal. You've got the L brackets here, and L brackets are available for almost any bike you can imagine. And then the bags and the racks are universal. So if you've got one Ventura rack and bag, it will basically fit on any bike you can imagine. All you need to invest in is a new set of L brackets if you get a new bike. One other thing to keep in mind, on most models, these L brackets are a no-cut fit. In a lot of cases, they actually bolt onto the pillion mounting points. My Daytona is one of the exceptions. I did have to drill through the tailpiece to basically get this bolted onto the subframe. But obviously, that's a really good solution. At the end of the day, because I can always just buy those lower panels and replace them, that's not too much of an issue, but also it means that it's bolted very securely onto the subframe. But on the Ninja 400, for instance, it's actually bolted on via the pillion peg stays, and then also under the tail where the fender is. So it's a very secure fit there as well. And I mean, it is really a very, very secure fit. Ventura do normally recommend a maximum amount of luggage on the back of the bike. One of the things I really like about these solutions is because you can of course turn it when you don't have anyone on the back of the bike, it centralizes the weight a lot more. That's a good solution. You will find if you really weigh it up, particularly on a bike like this, and hang one of the big bags with, you know, like 10 or 15 kilos, which is way more than they recommend, off the back of the bike, you probably will notice that weight, particularly as you pick up speed. But I think it's still a really, really good overall solution. And I've got to say, I hate wearing a backpack on a bike. I often wear a camera bag. However, when I was wearing a backpack and I had, you know, a big heavy laptop and lots of stuff in my backpack, it was something that I really felt impacted on the ride quite negatively. Whereas being able to put all that stuff in a big bag on the back and not worry about it, it was just so much easier. And you can get top boxes which fit this system, which means that you can then lock things securely on your bike in a waterproof system, which obviously is going to be a great solution for some people who want, storage on the bike or want waterproof storage, because if you're taking something important to work, that might be what you need. I'll just have a really quick look at the pack. This is a really, really simple pack. They've basically given it a red interior, which makes it much easier to pick your stuff out and see the things inside the bag. It's got a couple of tiny little pockets inside the bag, like really small pockets. You're not gonna fit much in those pockets, but you don't really need to. You can just chuck everything in this bag. As you can see, there's the zip on the front with another pocket. You've got a couple of straps as well, so you can actually put a shoulder strap on this bag and just throw it over your shoulder. It is ideal for putting your helmet in if you don't really want to be lugging your helmet around in a really cumbersome way. And of course, it just connects on to the rack itself with these clips, which work really well. And particularly if you're someone who has a bit of arthritis or has a bit of trouble with that kind of stuff, or whether if you're wearing motorcycle gloves, it's actually got the release mechanism which is going to work really well regardless of those situations, so that you can always get your bag off and that just clips off. And as you can see here, slides on. And you're good to go. It could not be any easier, it could not be any faster. And it's just a great solution. As I said, universal. If you get those L brackets, which are available for basically any bike and are pretty inexpensive really at the end of the day, you'll be able to fit an existing rack and bag system on any bike that you want. So it means you can always take this bag system with you no matter what you're riding. And you might just find that, it might even be a selling point, because I think a lot of people here in Australia have these, but they are available internationally now as far as I know. And I do think they're probably one of the best solutions if you're looking for a rack and bag setup that's not gonna destroy the look of your bike and is also a really cheap, or relatively cheap and simple installation. So if you've got any questions about the EVO 22 pack or the rack setup, this is the EVO rack setup as well, just let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. As always, thanks for watching and stay safe out there.